In the center of this zone is a sacred icon critical to the great journey. I must find it.
We shall cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way. The parasite is not to be trifled with. I hope you know what you're doing.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And fear not pain or death. No, Arbiter. I'll follow when our reinforcements arrive.
Welcome back to Level 9 Quarantine Zone, coming at you all sick. Now, this introduces a new Covenant vehicle, the Spectre.
Walker, through the vehicle. We'll need their heavy guns. Onward, sacred icon. Careful now.
As you can see, it's kind of like the Covenant equivalent to the Warthog. In this initial combat encounter, you have an Enforcer and some Eliminators. Not really a big deal, you just want to hop into a vehicle as quick as possible. Full disclosure, you can hop into a Ghost at the start of this level and just drive past like 90% of it, not even kidding. But that feels a bit against the spirit, so I'm just going to load up in the Spectre with my boys. As you can see, it's kind of better than the Warthog in a way, because you can load up 3 elites, although the chain gun turret equivalent does less damage and it's a worse weapon.
Look at him.
Look at him. So this big open room. It's full of Enforcers and Eliminators, but also flood driving vehicles. I do have a 4th elite ally and a Ghost helping out, but he's gonna die. I don't remember exactly how he dies, but he's less than helpful, I'll say. And yeah, you didn't mishear me or the elite earlier. The flood do drive now. By the way, I swapped out the elite's beam rifle for a carbine because the carbine is better at fighting the sentinels and flood that you encounter in this level. The flood are basically immune to beam rifle. And you can see a Warthog right there. Flood can pilot human vehicles too. Now, might be a little hard to see, but the Enforcer over there, they actually have an instant kill attack against vehicles. They'll pick them up in their claws and just like pinch until the pilot dies. That mortar that got lobbed at me was from a flood-controlled Wraith. That's right, a flood-controlled Wraith. It's over on the left side. If you stick to the right, it can't really do much. Now, there the strat is to grab the rocket launcher because flood-controlled Scorpions, which is what is over there, flood-controlled Scorpions can basically snipe you from across the map. It's ridiculous. They're extremely dangerous. But if you go invisible and have a rocket launcher, you can usually take them out before they can kill you. Luckily, this doesn't usually happen to me when I play this level. The Enforcers managed to actually kill the flood pilot without destroying the tank. It's very rare, but when it does happen, you get a Scorpion tank a lot earlier than you're supposed to, essentially. By the way, this song that's playing right now is really good. It's called Reclaimer. Anyway, if you don't get the Scorpion, what you'd want to do is you'd want to give one of your elites a rocket launcher, and then you'd have like a sort of rocket Spectre, I guess. Even if you do get the Scorpion, you'd want... So it's a little tricky. You'd want to stay up here and give one of your elite allies the rocket launcher. I forget to do that because once they hop on the Scorpion, you can't get them off in Halo 2. It's kind of annoying. I say, well, that was a problem in Halo 1 as well.
Nicely done.
But I digress. Now, yeah, you don't want to come down here, because when you come down here, flood-controlled Ghosts and a flood-controlled Warthog are going to come down and try and fight you. You'd want to stay up there and get the rocket launcher first. It makes this whole part fighting to the Scorpion tank, or control of the Scorpion tank, much easier. But this is a good showcase of how annoyingly tanky Flood are in this game. Just look how long it takes me to take out this Warthog with a plasma chain gun and 2 carbines firing at it. Remember, vehicle health is tied to driver health, so I mean, just look at this. This is ridiculous.
There you are.
The Flood, yeah, oh, and what's not helping is starting in this level. To differentiate them, elite combat forms will now have energy shields. That's right. Elite combat forms will now have energy shields. This is exceptionally annoying in this game because Flood now resist plasma damage, like their skin, but plasma damage is still effective on their shield, so it's weird. So it's like you need something to take out the elite combat form shields, but it's ineffective on unshielded elites and human combat forms, so carrier forms, but you know, who cares about carrier forms? You know, I don't think there are any carrier forms in this level, now that I think about it. Yeah, I have no idea what happened to my elite driving the Ghost ally. I think he fell off a cliff or something. I don't know. But yeah, you would want to give the elite the rocket launcher. This is me realizing that I kind of fucked that up. It's not a huge deal, but it does make this upcoming part easier, so you'd want to remember to give them the rocket launcher before getting into the Scorpion, because now you can't get them off. Luckily they fixed that in Halo 3, but I digress. There is still a flood-controlled Wraith over on that platform over there, but there's no reason to mess with them. You know, I'm just going to go on ahead. Alright. Full disclosure, I think this level is awful, and when I play it on my own, I get into a Ghost and I just drive through most of it, but I'm willing to do a full path for you guys, because I love you. No, but, well, I do appreciate you, but you better appreciate me for playing through this terrible level. You'll want to hang back there, because there's a flood-controlled Pelican. It has a flood-controlled Scorpion, and that if you move out too fast, that flood-controlled Scorpion can just blow you up. It's very lame. So you want to hang back for a second. And I touched on it briefly, but remember, Enforcers have an instant death grab against vehicles. So ironically, they're more dangerous to you in a vehicle than they are on foot. Because, I mean, you saw in the previous level, they can't really do anything to you when you're on foot. When you get underneath them. But yeah, when you're in a vehicle, they have that instant death claw grab. Also, I don't really demonstrate it in this level, but when they see that you're in a vehicle, sometimes they'll double their speed. They'll lock onto you and fly towards you twice as fast as they normally do. Because they know they can kill you in one hit. So you definitely want to keep your distance from the Enforcers. But yeah, if you're playing through this level on your own, absolutely just grab a Ghost and just drive through all of this, because this level is, frankly, it's very boring and very cheap. For example, Flood, while you're coming in here, Flood spawn in behind you. And as you can, I forgot one spawn and I lost one of my elites because of Flood mauled me. It's just, this level is just full of very cheap BS like that, just enemies constantly spawning in behind you. It's very lame. Speaking of that, we come to this outdoor icy area. There's 3 flood-controlled Wraiths fighting some Enforcers.
They have a ring. What wretched luck.
Thank you, Lily. But yeah, that initial Wraith isn't too bad, but as you might have noticed in this game, Wraiths are a lot more maneuverable than Scorpions are, so fighting those other 2 Wraiths is kind of annoying. I'm going to try my best. You can kind of ignore the 3rd Wraith for now, but you do want to try and weaken the 2nd Wraith. Yeah, I almost died there, but it only gets me with the splash. The Scorpion's lack of maneuverability is definitely a millstone in situations like this. Believe it or not, the Wraiths are not the main threat here. I'm taking out the second Wraith prematurely so I can focus on the real threat when it comes up. But hey, you know, on the bright side, this is a very nice skybox. It's very pretty level, if nothing else. This is probably the worst level in the series. This is the only level I would consider to be F tier, honestly, in Bungie Halo. But, you know, on the bright side, it's all uphill from here, right? Anyway, I move over here to get a better angle, and that ended up being the right move, because, yeah, it's just easier to hit him from over here. But anyway, this is actually another reason why I took the beam rifle for this specific area. This also gives me a good angle on the third Wraith. Although you can kind of ignore this Wraith for a while. So. Better safe than sorry. By the way, par score for this level is about 7,000, so I surpassed that by now. It's a pretty easy par score to get with this level. It's just, I guess that's the downside of doing the ghost method. Anyway, when you get that checkpoint, you want to back up. Because a bunch of Flood are going to spawn in from literally nowhere. Like, where did those ghosts come from? Are you kidding me? Alright, I'll stop being a wiener about it, but still. I thought I killed all the Flood, but I guess one, like, survived, as you'll see later. But the main reason you want to back up, it's you can't see it from here, but I go invisible. There is a Flood with a rocket launcher just camping the ledge. So yeah, as you can see, beam rifles are extremely ineffective on the Flood unless you hit their little combat form. And I guess this guy survives. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Flood combat forms can board vehicles now and like melee you to death, so that's something to watch out for. Luckily, the one downside to the Floods getting their shields is that they now have the elite recovery AI that makes them really dumb and passive. So you can take advantage of that in situations like that. Yeah. But yeah, beam rifle pretty useless against the Flood unless you're at extremely long distance and you can snipe their little infection form control center. That's still an instant kill on them. So, ironically, sniper rifles have actually been buffed against the Flood in this game because you can get insta kills on them. Careful of that enforcer that spawns in. Sometimes another Flood with a rocket launcher will spawn in that group that I just killed, but either I killed him really early or he didn't spawn. I guess I would recommend backing up there too, and then going invisible. Or you could just do what I did and, you know, pray you got a faster draw. You have the fastest draw on Delta Halo. When I was a kid, I would always go to the right. It's a dead end. There's nothing. Just go this way. Now, the Flood-controlled ghosts, I'm not sure if they're like pseudo-infinite spawners, but there definitely are a lot of them that come out of like places where you need to go. This is probably the Halo level I know the least about. Kind of the fact that I hate it. But, yeah, when you see these gray yellowish things, that's what that does. Oh, and yep, more cheap nonsense. A bunch of Sentinel Eliminators spawn in behind you. And then another Enforcer. I guess you could probably ignore this Enforcer. Better safe than sorry. They do have an instant death attack. I guess one thing to keep in mind when you fight Eliminators, you want to hit the one in the middle because the splash damage will kind of temporarily stun the other ones around it. So when you hear this track, you'll want to keep your distance because there's another Flood-controlled Scorpion. Luckily, it's preoccupied with fighting an Enforcer, but still, if you get too close, it can blow you up pretty easily. I'm pretty sure... Oh. Here's another example of 343 incompetence, is sometimes when you blow up a human-controlled vehicle, it subtracts points from your score because 343 fucked up the coding to make it, like you're killing a friendly ally. It's kind of lame. Luckily, this is the only level in the series where that's a concern, but still really stupid. This part, you got after you defeat that initial flood-controlled Scorpion, you got a lot of Eliminators and Enforcers to fight, but sadly, you're gonna have to get out of your tank here. If you have a Ghost, you can totally just get it through the little corridor up there. Very easy to do. You can just drive it through the rest of the level. Now, here's the downside of using the Scorpion over the Spectre. If you have the Spectre, your elites will get off and they'll come and fight with you in the next part, but if you have the Scorpion, I forgot this because I almost never get the Scorpion in this level. If you have the Scorpion, they just stay on and they refuse to follow you. So, you know, we don't reset here. We roll with the punches. There you go. Proceed on foot. But alright, this part's a little annoying. I will admit I have a very embarrassing. Yeah, there's a bunch of this is a big rumpus room. There's a bunch of Sentinel Eliminators and a Sentinel Enforcer in the middle fighting a bunch of flood combat forms. This is your first taste of how annoying it is to fight flood combat forms in this game on foot, and you know I'm so used to the vehicle combat I kind of get sloppy and just die there. Very embarrassing death. In hindsight, what I should have done, I should have kept my beam rifle. Beam rifle is a great weapon to use against Sentinels, even Sentinel Eliminators it's very effective on, but I managed to improvise with the plasma rifle. Another thing you could do is you could grab a plasma rifle from one of the many combat forms that you killed outside, and then you could come in here dual-wielding plasma rifles, because you saw in the previous level how effective that is on Sentinels. That's another thing, but Path of Least Resistance probably should have kept my... I have to admit, my gameplay this time around is not the best. I did get par score and I did have under 10 deaths. I probably... By the way, Plasma Grenade just as effective on the Sentinels as it was in Combat Evolved. Anyway, I probably should have re-recorded this level, but... whatever. Good enough, I say. Good enough. You'll want to leave that Enforcer alive, because, you know, as you saw in the previous level, it's not really a threat to you, and it keeps the combat forms busy. Now, I'm holding onto the rocket launcher here, because I forget that there's one later in the level. If you choose to take the rocket launcher in here, you could probably be a bit more liberal with it. But yeah, you'd want to leave that Enforcer alive, because if you leave it alive, it's very easy to just run past that room because the Flood are very preoccupied with it. That Enforcer death right there is scripted, because there is a Flood with a rocket launcher. There's another Enforcer in that room, he dies pretty quickly. But yeah, definitely be very liberal with your rocket launcher. I would say, yeah, any elite combat forms that you see, just kill them with the rocket launcher, because they're way too tanky with the energy shielding. Some Sentinel Majors are going to come down and fight the Flood. If you can get the Sentinels to strip their shields so you can get the headshot, that's good too. Human combat forms, obviously, just headshot them as is. They're very fast, so it's not always easy. And one thing to keep in mind, the Carbine is actually quite effective on Sentinel shields. Even versus Majors and Eliminators, it can... you'll have to spend like an entire clip for one Eliminator. In a pinch, it can still come in handy. You wouldn't really want to use the rocket launcher. Sentinels, though, are very effective. Like I said in Combat Evolved, they have like damage resistance to it. And, it's hard to hit them in the first place. This outdoor section's very annoying because, you know, Sentinels come in intermittently, and then a bunch of Flood combat forms jump over the ledge. You need to go into this little cave, but a bunch of combat forms come flooding out of it. Haha. In hindsight, I should have just fired my rocket launcher there, but yeah. And then I get stuck, and then I get hit by the shotgun, and I got it. And then, you know, I try and fight it out, die to the shotgun again. But yeah, shielded flood combat forms, you're basically fighting elites with insta-kill shotguns. It's very annoying. Anyway. This time, basically the problem I was having, I was being way too conservative with my rocket ammo because I forgot that there's one later in the level. I was like, this is my only rocket launcher. Without it, I'm gonna starve. No, there's plentiful rocket launcher ammo in this level, so go nuts on the on-foot segments. Although try and get easy headshots where you can. Yeah, like I said, carbine, you can use it on sentinels, but if you have like any kind of energy weapon, you'd want that to strip their shields. But yeah, I have 3 very dumb deaths in this part. Very preventable. If you're playing this level, you could easily do this part without dying. Yeah. This time, I do what I should have done initially and use the rocket launcher. By the way, the sentinels in this section aren't infinitely spawning, but there are a lot of them. It's kind of annoying. Probably pretty easy to see how you could easily drive past this part of a ghost, though. Anyway, another indoor segment. By the way, people, a lot of people play this level and they wonder, like, what the hell? Oh, by the way, there's a lot of flood combat forms in this room. The game kind of expects you to stealth it, but I kind of messed up, so wait, oh yeah. Almost got ganked. Yeah, I thought that was a sentinel at first, but no, it's a combat form. I ran out of rocket launcher ammo, but the rocket launcher I'm talking about, it's in the hallway, like right after this. It's not a big deal. Now, yeah, these indoor buildings, these are actually the ships that were overhead in the last level. You might have seen them briefly. The idea is the Flood piloted Pelicans up to them and then shot them and then like blew them up and brought them down. Because these are like Sentinel production factories is the idea. Just kind of an interesting lore tidbit. That's why they're like freshly on fire and stuff. Anyway, this part's easy to get lost in, but you just go down this hallway right here. There's a lot of Flood camping the hallway. Eventually, some Sentinels are going to come in to quote-unquote help you. Careful though, because those boxes, yeah, try not to go into the hallway, because those boxes, if they boink you again, they'll kill you. Just like in the level, the Oracle. But yeah, there's a bunch of unkilled combat forms still in the room down below, so I'm being cautious of that, and the Eliminators can chew through your shields pretty fast. By the way, remember that the Eliminators are the ones that shoot the blue beams, and the Majors are the shielded ones that shoot the orange beams. That's how they tell them apart. They both have shields, but the Eliminators are just stronger and more dangerous in every sense. In hindsight, I probably should have grabbed a second plasma rifle to dual wield. Yeah, as you can see, the carbine is decently effective on them. Although you would want to strip your shields first. Plasma rifle. Now, once again, yeah, here's where the rocket launcher is. You're gonna want this rocket launcher. From this point on, there are no more Sentinels for the rest of the level, so we're done fighting Sentinels. So whatever weapons you prefer to use to fight Flood, pick those. No more Sentinels. We're done with the Sentinels. Well, sort of. There's going to be some Sentinel Enforcers, but you're going to have a vehicle. The box almost killed me. Yeah. There's a flood-controlled Wraith and some flood-controlled Ghosts. Rocket Launcher makes short work of them, but just be careful because the Wraith and the Ghost can kill you very quickly. Just something to be mindful of. I love the Rocket Launcher too. Well, when I'm using it. It's a lot of fun to use. It's fun to use in Halo 1 too, to be honest. It's just not always super effective. But yeah, be careful jumping down there because there's a certain number of flood-controlled Ghosts. I think there's 3 in total. Now, this is what I mean about the Flood being way too tanky in Halo 2. Look, he survives a direct hit from a rocket launcher. In a Ghost, by the way. But luckily, Flood, Halo 2 AI moment, kind of dumb, lets me stick with the grenade. That's enough to finish him off. You're going to want to fight your way over there, because there is a second Scorpion tank. This is where you're supposed to get the Scorpion tank. But be ready when you hop in, because as soon as you hop in, that's actually a Gauss Warthog. It can't kill you in one hit, but it can do a lot of damage. Careful of the Gauss. Now this part's kind of annoying. So there's gonna be there's a flood-controlled Wraith, but right at the entrance you get jumped by a Ghost and a Warthog. I think the Warthog drove off a cliff, but you're gonna want to be fast here because you have an allied Phantom that's gonna drop off some reinforcements, but including a Spectre and some Ghosts. But the Wraith can just like blow up the vehicles before they get to land, and then you just don't have allies and vehicles. And it killed most of my reinforcements, so all I have left are the Spec Ops Commander, who's invincible, and another Spec Ops Elite. Yeah, like I said, there's some Enforcers in this part, but you're pretty much done fighting Sentinels, because you don't really need a strategy with the Scorpion tank. Yeah, for some reason... Oh, by the way, the Spec Ops Commander can totally just fly over the edge like that, so I decided to not mess around with their AI and just go ahead. I got pretty unlucky with the friendly AI in this level, but that's the price you pay for the power of the Scorpion, I suppose. Yeah, there's another flood-controlled Wraith over here, so we can do that. And there's another flood-controlled Gauss Hog. Yeah, it's a little hard to see, but my elite ally actually hijacks the flood-controlled vehicle, but then he immediately flies off the edge and dies. So, amazing. Great. Fantastic. Thank you. So stupid. But, oh well. Where we are going, we don't need allies. That's not really, well... We have the Spec Ops Commander. Yeah, like that's what I mean about the Scorpion tank being able to snipe you. Yeah, that's a flood-controlled Scorpion tank. You want to hang back, but he's fighting 2 Enforcers, so the Enforcers will pretty much always win that engagement. So you want to wait for them to just kill the Scorpion, and then when they start fighting the Flood Wraith, you kind of angle your shots below this little alcove, and you can blow it up without endangering yourself. It's pretty easy. And then there are going to be a lot of flood-controlled Ghosts in this part. I'm not sure if it's a pseudo-infinite spawner or what, but yeah, after you deal with the Enforcer, there's just going to be a lot of flood-controlled Ghosts to deal with. you're gonna fight your way to that building over there, which is the building that we've been seeing in the skybox for this whole level. You know, we're finally here, so that's cool. Grab some more ammo for the rocket launcher. You can see it. Now, here we get to, yeah, very cheap death. So, the Flood Elite Combat Form, he tanked. Oh, by the way, if you die, you gotta go all the way back here. Yeah. He tanked the Scorpion, and then he flipped over, and then the Flood in the Ghost had a rocket launcher, so then he immediately just fired it at me and insta-killed me. Very cheap, so I decided to just play it safe. Because the rocket launcher in this game actually does slightly more damage than Scorpion's main cannon. Remember that the Spec Ops commander is completely invincible, so don't be afraid to get a little friendly fire. But yeah, I decided to just play it safe and just kill the Ghost with the rocket launcher. Although that does deprive me of a lot of rocket launcher ammo for a part later on. That doesn't matter. I'll explain in a minute. Here's another super cheap thing. When that checkpoint comes in, some Flood with power weapons are going to come out of those vents up there. Like 99 times out of 100, one of them will have a rocket launcher, so you want to be quick on the draw. But this time, a guy with a sniper rifle spawned, so I was very discombobulated. So another stupid death on my part. Yeah, just... Luckily I got a checkpoint, so like, yeah, as soon as you see the gate open, just fire. And then a bunch of Flood are going to come pouring out of the middle. Luckily you have the Spec Ops commander to help you. It wouldn't be the worst idea to give him an energy sword. This part, but not a huge deal. The most dangerous thing the Flood can do here, they can hop onto those human chain gun, like mounted chain guns that we've seen briefly. Like the one I used on Outskirts. Yeah, they can hop on those, and those can tear through your Scorpion very quickly. So you want to be careful of that. There's, I believe there's 4 chain guns in total. There's one by the door, then there's 3 on that upper platform. By the way, you can, if you approach, you know, you might be thinking, well, if Flood with power weapons spawn from those vents, maybe I can just go around the other side. No, they'll spawn from whatever side you come in, so that won't work. Not a bad idea, though, if you want. But yeah, finally done with that part. But now we come to the most annoying and cheap part of the level that makes me dislike it the most.
More humans. They must be after the icon. On your way, Arbiter. I'll deal with these beasts.
I see that coward can join you. I'll do what I can to keep the Flood on your back. We cannot let the humans capture the icon. The higher-ups do not put time to your failures.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this part is awful. This is another one of Halo 2's classic and iconic
The parasite gathers for an attack.
multi-minute long holdout sections. You're on this gondola for 5 minutes, and Flood are going to be constantly jumping on top of it. You have 4 Spec Ops elites helping you out, but they're less than useful. Tartarus will help a little bit with his Phantom, but that's also less than helpful. This is the one part of these games, I'm honestly not sure how Bungie expected you to do this legitimately. Luckily, there's a lot of cheese strats in this part. You know, I think it's telling. You know, I played these games several times. By the way, it's helpful to come in here with a full rocket launcher. I couldn't do that because I played it safe with the ghosts. I guess that's one thing that can help. Another thing you could do is when you see energy swords, you could give your allies energy swords during downtime. I always try to do this part legitimately, but eventually I just lose my patience with it and do a cheese strat. But yeah, I think it's telling that I played this game several times. I'm not sure how Bungie expected you to do this, but I'm aware that there are 2 very easy cheese strats that let you skip this whole part. So. Yeah, the main thing that makes this really cheap, Flood just spawn in these lower tunnels. They just come in. Like even if you have the upper part secure, these lower tunnels just flood out of them. And as you can see, they're extremely tanky. It's just not. Just keep coming. Very tanky. The shield lets them survive a hit from the energy sword, actually. Yeah, and they have shotguns, so they can just kill you instantly if you try and melee them. Makes even melee against the Flood not fun. So yeah, I try. Oh, and then an ally threw a grenade that I couldn't see and I died. So, you know, I always try and do this part legitimately, but eventually I get impatient. Here's the cheese strat. Once this tunnel is clear, you can jump into it, and you just hide here for 5 minutes. Not kidding. Yeah, it's really as easy as that, and then you don't have to do this part ever again. And I'm speeding this up a little bit. But yeah, you really just have to sit here for 5 minutes. I waited. I was a good sport about it. I waited until my allies were dead. You know, it feels in character, I guess, for the Arbiter to prioritize survival of it at any cost. So once his 4 allies are dead, he just hides here. I don't know. Oh, the other cheese strat. Up top, there's a really, really easy out of bounds thing you can do. You just hop on, there's a little ledge you can hop on, and you just climb up it, and you go out of bounds. It's very easy. You just skip this whole part that way too. So. By the way, when he says that, you still have like another minute to go, so don't go rushing up. Just because you heard him say after them. I don't know, I'm being a little negative, but like, look how many Flood there are, and like, look how fast your allies die. And like, you saw me like chucking all those grenades. Like, look at how much punishment Halo 2 Flood can take. I honestly don't know how Bungie expected you to do this part legitimately. So, you know, ever since I found this out, I always come down here. I have done this legit before on Legendary, but it's, you know, it's not really fun either. You just kind of gotta hope you get lucky. You know, don't get too many Flood with shotguns. Hope your allies don't, like, immediately die. Just too much orange. But I can't assure you, this is the only segment in any of these games where I feel the need to cheese it like this.
Hurry, Arbiter! Get the icon!
Yeah, when you see that chapter title come up, that's when you know you're done. You can kind of sneak over to this side. Just you saw all those Flood combat forms. That's ridiculous. That's too much Flood. Too much Flood. Now, for this last part, there's a lot of infection forms. If you leave them alive long enough, they will resurrect these combat forms, but it's pretty rare and you can kill them pretty easily, so it's kind of a breather. By the way, a little hard to see, but those 2 corpses that I just passed, those are actually uninfected human marine corpses. Just something to keep in mind.
Index is secure.
Mackenzie, Perez, how's our exit? You hear me, Marines? We got trouble. Damn! How you doing?
Sergeant, stay down! Johnson, you all right? Johnson!
Excellent work, Arbiter. The Hierarchs will be pleased.
The Icon is my responsibility.
What's your responsibility? Now it is mine. A bloody fate awaits you and the rest of your incompetent race. And I, Tartarus, chieftain of the brutes, will send you to it.
When the prophets learn of this, they will take your head.
When they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
Well, story-wise, this level's pretty cool, at least. Yeah. But that's Quarantine Zone, 8 deaths, and, you know, 3 of those deaths were because I wanted to play out the gondola ride, but you could just hide in the tunnel as soon as you get there. And remember, par score is about 7,000 anyway. On the bright side, it's all uphill from here. So join me next time for level 10, Grave Mine, which is one of my favorite levels, actually. One of the longest levels in the series, too. So big, meaty level, much better than this one. Hope to see you there. For those of you who enjoy bonus footage, I certainly have some of that this time around. You know, well, I'll hold that thought. Okay. Into the bonus footage first. There's something very important I have to show off. More important than the terminal. There's a glitch sentinel who fires needler rounds. Isn't that awesome? Okay. We call him the Needler Sentinel. For that. There he goes. Now you might say, hey, Prisma, isn't it hypocritical for you to lambast 34-3 for, like, failing to code the scoring properly, but then, you know, Bungie puts in a sentinel with the wrong weapon type and you're, like, based? Yeah, maybe. But anyway. Some Halo 2 AI moment right there. You can probably see the terminal already. It's, it's both the Needler Sentinel, who I sadly had to put down like the rabid dog that he is. Sadly. Yeah. Both the Needler Sentinel and the terminal are in this initial big factory room with all the Sentinels in the flood. Even on normal difficulty, there's just a lot of enemies here, so I'm going to cut ahead to when I finish clearing out the room. A lot of enemies in here. But alright. Yeah, terminal just over here. Pretty easy to find. You'll probably see it just playing the level normally. There you go.
It is most unusual that in all the exploits of these Arbiters, you never mention their role in choosing their missions of redemption.
There is no role, Oracle. Once one of our commanders becomes an Arbiter, he belongs to the Hierarchs.
These Hierarchs, they are the same High Prophets who control all the holy relics you collect from my time?
The same.
And they use these relics to build your new weapons and bring you the word of your gods?
It has always been so.
Interesting. Am I a holy relic?
I do not understand.
Because I am certainly not a god. I am a tool, as is this mining platform you stand upon. as was the installation that once orbited the planet. The Forerunner's technology is lasting and indeed quite powerful, but I'm quite certain they would have told me if I was infused with some kind of divine power. I suspect some of your prophets may have been quite aware of how much divine inspiration tools such as myself could provide. And you never questioned these proclamations. Even your mightiest warriors, these Arbiters, never questioned?
Questioning was what brought shame to the word Arbiter long ago, Oracle.
How disappointing.
I fear now that there are many questions we should have been asking for a long, long time.
I would be more than happy to answer any such questions, but I have a few more for you. Continue your tale of these Arbiters.
But alright. Sorry if I was a little negative in this episode. My attitude will improve as the levels improve. I guess I would say, I wonder if the reception of the Arbiter would have been better if he didn't have to play through Sacred Icon and Quarantine Zone back to back. It's, something I've always thought about. Because the rest of his levels I quite enjoy. But either way, I'll leave you with those musings, and I will see you next time in Level 10, Gravemind. It's going to be a big, long one. Bye-bye. Oh, and a moment of silence for our fallen Needler Sentinel.